Hi, this is Dave Block with the Florida Aviation Network with Reza Karamooz with Grad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Good to
doing
see
great.
you again. Good to see you guys at
Wonderful
the Reno
to
Air
see you.
Races.
Great to be here. So what's happening this year that's new and exciting?
Well, everything's bigger and better this year. So we've expanded the program and we've brought a few new technology experiences. They're really, really cool. We're also incorporating a lot more history into the STEM Education Discovery Zone. All right, so here we have a bunch of stuff on display, random things. So this is a light switch cover. We 3D printed this. It's Vegas Golden Knights, Go Knights. It's dual extrusion, so two colors laid down at the same time. And I have this at my house on every switch that can handle it.
So the purpose for all of this is just showing kids about 3D printing and modeling, and
Correct.
That's the basis of what's going on
3D
here.
design, 3D printing, kind of showing you can print small things, big things, all sorts of different things. A lot of these things were custom designed.
Okay, so Reza, tell me what's going on here with this 3D imagery.
Okay, so this is what we introduced here last year, and we've raised the bar this year. Our models are a lot nicer, more detailed. A lot of the planes, not this year, you can go inside the cockpit. So basically what you have is we have an app we've developed both for Android and for the iOS. The Android is on the App Store. It's called Grad AR Plus. And so when I look at that steel racing plane, when I put the camera against it, the model pops up, and I can go ahead and manipulate the model, zoom in on it, turn it. I can also just push the button and turn it to the orientation I want. Let's say I want to look inside the cockpit. I can just go ahead and turn it and go, okay, well, that's what it looks like in there. I can hit a button. The information comes up on that particular plane. I can go back, and let's say I want to look at the Thunderbird plane that's right back here.
Yeah.
So I can turn it, zoom in. So very detailed. So this year we have the passport also activated on AR. So in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 and the Saturn V, if you put the app against the Saturn V or the front of the passport, the original video of the Saturn V launch comes up. You just hit play, and it'll go ahead and play the full video with sound. If I flip that card over, it brings up the Reno promotional video, Reno Air Races promotional video.
Great technology, great use.
It's awesome stuff. Never gets old.
So, So now what do we have here, Reza?
So this year we've got some cool technology experiments. This is a guitar with no strings. As you can see, there's no strings here, but it plays. So we found this guitar in a dumpster behind our office. It wasn't in this good shape. So we thought, well, maybe we can make something out of it. There's some computers in there. I don't know if you can see it. And we laser cut and laser engraved these rectangular notches out of here, and then CNC'd some aluminum pieces to put in there. Wires run behind, touch those. And I'm grounding it here while I'm playing. And we also have macros for it, so
Very cool. So
what is playing Hey Jude by the Beatles. And I can act like I'm playing. Put the microphone against it. Hey Jude. Yeah.
What, does it do anything for the voice?
Yes. Oh, makes it worse. No.
Okay.
So anyway, so that's what this is.
Tell me about what it is in the STEM program that you're trying to teach through this process.
All right, that's a good question. Man, I thought you'd never ask. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. So we're going to complete an electrical circuit. It's difficult to teach electricity, and how do circuits work? Like, what's a plus? What's a minus? What happens if you take two 12-volt batteries and connect them in series? How many volts do you have at the other end? Difficult. So all I'm doing here is I'm completing a circuit. My body is the circuit. So you and I are going to play guitar together, and we're going to connect the circuit together. Nope. So you can touch my hand here. And
Thanks
then,
for the permission.
yes, please. And then go ahead and touch it here. Like,
I'm a drummer, not a keyboard, not a.
well,
not
you're
a
playing it like a drummer. So
See?
we just could connect. Yeah, so that's how that works. You're not
I'm,
touching.
I'm feeling the connection here.
Yeah. Well, so I'm grounding it while you're going through and playing it.
Right.
So plus there's a lot of coding that went into this, and our one intern there, Brayon, who started as a freshman with us, and he's now enrolled at UNLV studying electrical engineering and computer science. He just started this fall. So he programmed that computer, and we just kind of brainstormed, hey, can we put, so we got 12 of my favorite songs on here. So I take this, I put it on a kitchen counter, I go on the macro, hit it, activate it, let it play, while I'm just chilling out.
That's
and
awesome.
doing all right. So here we have augmented reality Sandbox. So you can basically create any terrain, create hills, valleys, and very low areas turn into rivers and ponds and pools of water. And what's happening is the scanner up here is scanning the height of the sand, sending that information to the computer. The computer converts that into an image, and using that projector, projects it back down.
And again, I'll ask the question: what are they learning by this?
Okay, so that's a really good question. If I'm teaching geography or geology, I'm a petroleum and natural gas engineer, and I can tell you when they're talking topography and topo lines and all this, you're like, what are you talking about? Because you're looking at 2D images in a book. So if I say the lines are real close, that's a steep hill. In a book, you're looking at it going, what does that mean? But if I say, look, if I smooth that out, that's not a very steep hill anymore, is it? Look how the lines are getting further apart. Ah, I got it. So if I do that on this side, you can see the lines are not so steep. And if I want to be able to walk across that river, and if I smooth it out, now I've got a bit of a level area I can go across. So if I want to go back to the real steep topography, I can see those lines get real close. I'm doing it in real time and explaining it. It took the job of teaching topographic lines and topography and different elevations down to 5 minutes instead of a couple weeks, and still have kids go, oh, I don't know if I quite understand that. Here you're doing it with your own hands, and you can see the results of changing the topography, and the topo lines are instantly showing up in real time.
Is this something that you've developed, or that was developed by some others, and you're integrating it here for the STEM program, or what?
Right. So this was technology that was developed at UC Davis and University of California, Davis, and we have taken it and we're adding code to it to do more things with it. This is the third Sandbox we've built, and as far as we know, maybe this is the only Sandbox that travels. We actually have another one that travels. We have it in the other tent, and that's a mini one, but this is our biggest one to date. Our goal is to create more of these and then loan them out to schools so that they can use it to teach geography, geology, topo maps, depending on what their purpose is. There's a lot of different uses for this. We have an app for this where you can, the computer will say, okay, create the island of Madagascar, and you Google it and you see the island shape. So you create the shape, create the topo, you're on a timer. The computer says, okay, you're out of time. Scanner scans it, compares it to the real island, and gives you a score. So now you're actually learning what the shape of an island is by creating it. Well,
Awesome.
What better way to learn?
Will it tip over?
Will this tip over?
No, the island.
The island? I don't know.
Somebody said that at one point. I think
well,
it was in Congress.
That's beyond what I know. I just know engineering stuff. All right. So here we have the Tesla Coil on display with a little bit of history about Nikola Tesla. And what we did is we have the Reno Air Traffic Control Tower, and we created an adapter for it where the Tesla Coil sits on top. It's kind of a cool display. And the kids can go like this and light up a bulb. And then they wonder how that happened. And we would have someone standing here We were very busy last few days. Today's kind of quiet, but one of our teammates here, Logan, would stand there and explain how it works, and I can spark to it. You can see that spark. Maybe, I don't know if you saw it on the camera. If I do it too many times, I'll burn a hole through my finger, so I'll stop. But anyway, so this is very cool. Over here, we dissect the jet engine, and we also have a schematic of the jet engine. So the kids can come up, pick that thing up, kind of hold it, look at it, inspect it, kind of rotate, see the blades moving around, and then they can look at the actual schematic and see how a jet engine, in concept, how does it work. Next to it, we have the Saturn V rocket. We 3D printed this thing in many pieces, glued it together, painted it white, and next we'll be painting the fine details on there. There's a bit of history about the Saturn V rocket engraved on the wood base.
Now, all of this 3D printing and all of the laser printing, engraving, and all that stuff, all of this you have at your facility in Las Vegas, is that correct?
Yep.
Are there other facilities up here in Reno that has anything like this?
I'm sure there are. I don't know where they are.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, this is relatively, available technology, laser engraving, laser cutting, 3D printing.
Typical for STEM programs is what I'm getting at.
Yep.
Yeah. So one of our conversations that we've had is that you talk about that you like to go dumpster diving.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, solving problems. So when we look at that AR stand, it's a piece of PVC going up. It's a piece of 2x4. We just kind of figure things. Sawhorses hold up that thing. It's just a matter of solving problems without having to buy brand new things. Solving it with things that already were solved. How do we do it with stuff we have? Or if we don't have it, literally, let's look in a dumpster. So that guitar I showed you, the orange guitar with no strings, that came out of a dumpster. It literally was in a dumpster, all broken up, strings are everywhere. And I'm like, man, that's a shame. Let's make something out of that thing. Same thing here. This was an old Samsonite sitting in my closet I had bought off of eBay. I just thought it was cool. And but it was just sitting there. And I thought, well, let's make something out of it. Let's put some games in it. It's a crazy idea, but here it is. So we have another sort of dumpster dive idea over there. Hey,
so, basically, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah, that's right. So here we have a Bell 500 phone right here. So this is no wires attached. It's not like the old days. I pick up the phone and I can make a phone call, but just dialing like the old days. There's two computers in here. They convert the analog signal to a digit, and then when they get 10 of them, they're like, oh, that must be a phone number. I'm going to shoot it out to the cell tower. And that's how it works. What's cool about it is this LED light can blink in different colors. So it's LED. It's not, just in one color, right? So I can make it so when you call me, it'll blink maybe 2 reds. Stop, blink 2 reds. I'm like, I know who it is. So that's how we can make an old phone with no caller ID be a little smarter. On this battery pack, we fired this thing up Tuesday night when we got here, tested it. It's at 44% now, but it was 100% when we started the week. This will run for another probably week, roughly, because it's been heavily used. I don't know how many calls we've made, but I have to look at our call records when we get back to Las Vegas. But there's no GPS in here. There's no altimeter, there's no anything, right? There's no accelerometer, there's nothing. It's just gonna make a phone call for you and receive a phone call. There's no texting. So the beauty of it is it lasts forever.
Yeah, let's head over to the other tent. We got some robotics and things like that over there, right?
We sure do.
Awesome. Let's make it happen.
We do have
so
a big robot.
We're now in the robot tent, and tell me about what these kids are doing, and tell me about what it is that you're teaching about robotics here.
Well, we have a whole robotics program here. Lots of different robots, different sizes and shapes, and different challenges. So the kids have these controllers. They're wireless, and they pick up cubes and other cones and things, move it from one place to another. What's cool about it is, A, they're fascinated by robots, and B, they learn, they ask questions, how does it work, or how do I program it, or how come this one has a different shape, this one has an arm, this one has a claw. So we teach them about how you can configure robots to do different things. And as you can see, there's a lot of different activities and different things they're doing with them. The robots have sensors. Each one's configured differently. Some have little sensors in the front. They can sense things that are in the way. Some have arms and claws. Some can pick things up. Some can push things. So, yeah, a lot of different ways to do this.
Are these typically Arduino controllers? Or?
So these are not. These are called VEX. A lot of schools have these VEX kits. They do VEX competitions. So we have VEX EDR, which is the metal kind on the table there. And then we have VEX IQ. And what's cool about it is a lot of schools are starting to incorporate some of these robotics programs and after-school programs, involve themselves in competitions, and really introduce the young to really the wild world of robots and how many things you can do with them. This is a great way to get them started. Obviously, robotics is going to be incorporated as it is now and getting more and more into manufacturing and warehousing and just doing a lot of the tasks that are out there in factories. So this is a great intro.
So this is the replacement for jobs?
Not really, because if I take a job that's, let's say, picking up a cube from here and putting it on the other conveyor belt, that's a pretty menial job. It really isn't, I wouldn't call it a career. But you're right, that job would get replaced. But the job that we're creating is really highly technical people to create the robots, build them, maintain them, program them, which are way higher paying jobs, and obviously they're actual careers. So maybe we're giving up this menial job of moving something from here to there, or some other jobs that can be replaced with robots, but the jobs we're creating are really highly technical, because these robots don't run themselves, they don't manufacture themselves, they don't program themselves or troubleshoot themselves. So
that's exactly my point of view that I tell people too, and it's
don't be afraid. Like, people talk about drones, taking away jobs from pilots and things like that. Well, no, there's actually a pilot still flying it, and a drone has a lot of moving parts. It has the drone itself and data link, and you have to worry about data security. So many other jobs are being created, but they're cool technical jobs with artificial paying.
And artificial intelligence could be absolutely really interesting.
Yep. So all of those things are the future, and the future is now. As you can see it, we don't have to convince any of the kids to play with the robots or fly a simulator or play in the Sandbox and notice what augmented reality Sandbox looks like. Yeah, a little different than the Sandbox I played in.
Yep. Awesome.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, let's move on.
I am the 7th astronaut out of a possible 6.
Are you ready?
So Reza,
yes. Tell
tell me where we are.
So we're in a spaceship, and you're an astronaut. We're as much in a spaceship.
Not.
We're yeah, right. So we're in a spaceship as much as you're an astronaut. So we're in the what we call our simulator tent. We have lots of flight simulators loaded in here. We have virtual reality flight simulators. Any plane you want to fly, and in the virtual reality, you will be flying over the Reno State Airport. That's what we've got loaded in the simulator. So it's really, really cool. But if you just want to have some fun and take some cool pictures in a spaceship and be an astronaut for a day, you can do that too.
It's been my dream.
Well, dream come true. You're welcome.
Thanks for making my dreams come true.
Anytime. Just a phone call away.
Yeah. What are friends for?
Yeah. So in this tent, also during the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, when the racers were available, after the practice runs, we had 2 racers in here. For one of them, it was the 3rd year he was here, and for the other one, it's the 2nd year. They sit down, they have some pictures to sign, they talk to the kids, they say, hey, this is how I came along this path and then became a racer and that sort of thing. They both have actual daytime jobs besides racing, so they talk about that. As a pilot, this is what I do. And in addition, throughout the week, we've had a lot of visitors. We had the Lieutenant Governor, so you have the big honor of being in the same astronaut suit as the Lieutenant Governor of Nevada.
Hey.
She was doing that on Thursday. We had our big grand opening ceremony, and when we did our tour, this is where we ended up, and that's what she did.
There you go.
So we also have had Air Force Thunderbirds here come through, several of them, some with their families, and experience all the things we had for their kids. And in fact, we had an Air Force Thunderbird painting on our mural the Air Force Thunderbird plane. I thought that was the coolest thing. We got pictures of that.
I want to know, did Hoot Gibson come in and stand here for you?
Yeah, all the astronauts they all came one after another.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's because it's now I know I'm in a long line of expertise.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you're head of the line, so.
Yeah. That's just because I'm the last one.
That's right. Yeah. We saved the best for last.
There you go.
You timed it perfectly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I really appreciate everything you've told us about, all the stuff that you're doing with Grad, and it's amazing technology, and it's wonderful that you're bringing this in for kids. At FAN, one of the things that we're doing is we're really trying to bring kids into this, to technology, to science, to aviation, and this is such a great opportunity to do that.
That's awesome. You know, it's never too early, I don't think, to get a kid started on all of this stuff, because they can take this information in like, okay, yeah, I got it. So to say, oh, it has to be middle school or high school, none of that makes any sense to me. Get them started as soon as you can with anything: robotics, coding, flight simulators. I mean, we had a little kid, I swear, I think maybe she was 2.5. She's in goggles, flying a flight simulator. Her head was below the yoke because that's how short she was, and the yoke is only like 2.5, 3 feet off the floor. So it was so cute because she didn't have to see anything because it's all in her goggles, and she's got the yoke that she's only get up here, and she's flying, and with super focus. And you could see she was doing pretty darn well. And so when I see all that kind of stuff, I'm every day convinced we've got to do a lot more. We've got to do it all across the country, and we've got to bring these types of programs. Every state, every school, every kid has to see it, has to experience it. And I guarantee you, everyone will be shocked at how quickly they pick things up. I mean, we had one of our summer interns just finished her freshman year. She's a sophomore now in high school. She reverse engineered the Reno Stead terminal building, looking at pictures on the internet, designing it in 3D and CAD, and then we printed it in 3D. And it's extremely accurate in terms of size and proportion. For me, that's what is our inspiration, because we see how kids react to these things and how well they receive that information and interact with it. We don't have to convince them to, hey, play with that. They just come up, they grab it, and they don't want to leave. So we just got to bring more of that access all across the U.S.
And I think part of what you're doing also, is my understanding, is that you're talking to the folks at Sun and Fun. Is that correct?
It is. I don't know how you know all this information. You must have.
I know people.
Yeah, you must have an operative somewhere around here. I'm going to have to see if someone's wearing a wire. So, yeah, we had some folks, the high-ups of Sun and Fun here a couple of days ago, and they're asking me some questions and want some of our stuff down at your show down in Florida. So we'll see where it goes. But, yeah, my goal is to take it all across the country, so one place at a time. And we are the official Reno Air Races STEM education youth activity and youth outreach partner. We want to do that for every air show and all over the country. I mean, there's no reason why we don't have everywhere this kind of access.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, this is Dave Block at the Reno Air Races 2019 with Reza Karamooz and this incredible program of GRAD and the STEM programs that he's dealing with and promoting and all across the nation, which is so wonderful. And I think we're
good. Yeah,
we're good.
Pretty much a lot of territory. You guys are welcome to just walk around and talk to the kids and ask some questions, take pictures.
Let me ask you this question. If somebody needs to get a hold of you for more information, how do they do that?
It's real simple. My email is Reza, R-E-Z-A, at grad.co, G-R-A-D-D.co. Reza, R-E-Z-A, at gradco. That's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a wrap. It's Dave Block for Florida Aviation Network, coming to you live from from Florida. No, we're in Reno.
Reno Air Races,
Reno Air Races in 2019. Have a great day.
All right.